Hello, welcome back to the Be the Cake podcast. Me, your host, Liz Campbell, and you may or may not be hearing the sounds of seagulls in the background because it's early morning and I'm recording this. And just in case you are interested, what we are making in this week's cookery extravaganza that you can see in the background here whilst I talk about completely unrelated subjects is actually tuna Scotch eggs, and they were served with baked potatoes and some kind of a salad. I can't even remember what one it was now. The tuna Scotch eggs recipe I will be putting down in the drop down box underneath this, so you can avail yourself of it by having a look in there. There's also links and so on to basically, I do apologise for the background noise. I've got my windows open. It's warm at the moment. Yay, finally. British summertime has stopped being quite so fucking disappointing. So we've got some sunshine. It's too warm for me to have the windows closed. So you're going to hear a bit of traffic because it's almost 7:00 and therefore people are possibly driving to work. I don't know. Yeah, so drop down box, you'll get all the links that you need there and also the recipe for the tuna Scotch eggs. Anyhow, on to far more pressing matters. What I want to talk to you today about is DNA activation. Let's talk about DNA activation. Okay, so since I started working with energy, which was kind of, I don't know, it was a long time ago now. It feels like a very long time ago. So I basically was doing my Reiki certifications back in, I started on those, I think, in 2014, actually, but don't quote me on that. So I did my Reiki 1, which was a 3-month course. Then I did my Reiki 2, which was also a 3-month course. So, okay, let's talk about energy work a bit with this as well. One of the things that I have found kind of quite puzzling is the fact that people offer Reiki certifications that literally take a weekend, because the whole thing with Reiki, I know certainly from my training with it, and I don't even use Reiki anymore, but I just want to talk about this a little bit. When I did my Reiki certifications, my aim was to basically learn how and all of that and receive the attunements and actually get a good, stable, solid grounding in it that included basically a sort of an in-depth understanding of the principles and so on and so forth. It's just not possible to do that in a weekend. People that are offering these weekend Reiki courses are not taking anyone into the kind of depth that really needs to be kind of explored in order for someone to have a proper understanding of what they're doing with Reiki. Now, it might be, a weekend course would give you a good taster and a chance to play with it a little bit, but it's not going to really get you living the principles. I personally think it's the same with any kind of energy work. If you want to understand how to work with energy, you need to actually, quite apart from getting really good at listening to your intuition, you need to actually be prepared to spend time. Now, I have spent pretty much the entirety of the past, if I think about it, like if I did my Reiki certifications back in or I started doing them back in 2014, which I'm pretty sure it was 2000. It's either 2014 or 2015 I started on those. So I have been, I started working with energy 9 or 10 years ago. Now, during that time, I have made really fast advancements as I've gone along, and I've received understandings and I've brought through things. But the thing that's gone alongside that has been an unwavering commitment to the work. Now, if you were to talk to any of my old clients, anyone who's known me over the course of the past 9 years, when it comes to the energetic work that I do. Everyone I know knows that I work with myself first and foremost. I spend a lot of time basically channeling. I spend a lot of time in, I'm not going to say isolation, but I spend a lot of time literally not running around doing the busy, etc., but actually spending quiet time inwards, journaling, allowing myself the time to receive insights, listening to my intuition. I have done a lot of training along the way. There have been certifications. I don't use any of those certifications now, but the whole point is that in the course of me bringing through my own modalities and the work that I do now with clients, I did a lot of training in other modalities, and I really finessed my ability to work with energy, my understanding of it, and things like ethics, best practice, all of the other stuff. And I just want to sort of throw in here that anyone can work with energy, but if you're going to work with energy and put yourself in the position of working with other people's energy, there needs to be a foundation that's put in place that's actually based on commitment, stability, deep understanding. Okay. You need to make the time. You need to put energy into it. You need to put investment. I'm going to say investment. Now, investment's a funny word because people will automatically think of money. When it comes to energetics, just like anything else in life that you are building a skill set in, you will have natural talent. You also need to build a skill set, okay? That requires an investment. The investment can be time, it can be money, it can be energy, it can be all three. But the fact is that you need to invest into it in order to actually be able to get out of it what you require in order to have the kind of success that you are aiming at. As with anything, if you are an artist, you're going to spend hours painting. If you work with energy, you're going to spend hours reading, researching, training, doing certifications, working with energy, experimenting on yourself, playing around, seeing what happens, making notes, making corrections, course correcting, all of these things, okay? It's just part and parcel of how building any kind of real skill set works. And moving on from there to what I actually wanted to talk about, which is DNA activation. This is something I have been fascinated with since, if I was going to put a time on this one, my fascination with DNA activation started in 2016, I think. And from that point, it took me about, I'd say, a year or over a year, actually, before I got to the point where I felt ready to offer any kind of DNA activation. And from that point onwards, it was a learning curve for me about diving into the depths of what was going on with it. Now, one of the things that happens is that as I have developed my skills, my connection with my higher self has gotten much stronger, and there's a lot of information that comes through, and there's a lot of stuff that gets done as a result of me opening up my channel fully so that I can do these things in order for essentially the work to get more powerful, to get more specific, more precise, and so on and so forth. Now, in amongst all of that, effectively, it's been a huge journey for me in terms of understanding my own role, what I'm here to do. When you factor in the Akashic Records work and all of the other stuff, essentially, I came to a very clear understanding of the reasons why I personally, my soul is here on this planet at this time, why I'm drawn to doing the kind of work that I do, why I'm drawn to present it and offer it in the way that I'm presenting it and offering it. And, you know, I will say with all of this that there is always, excuse me, there is always, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of how many people have done it before you, are doing it now, whatever the fuck it is, you know, it doesn't matter what the subject matter is that you're covering, you will always have your own unique take on things, your own unique way that you're here to do something. Okay, so it could be that you are strongly drawn to writing a book, for example, and you know that loads of people have written loads of books before. That's not going to stop you. You're not going to be there going, okay, well, I can't write books because other people are writing books. It's an interesting one, because when I look at the healing arts and energy work field and the spiritual inverted commas community, one of the things that I have seen and I've encountered in other people over the years, which I've always found really puzzling, is the level of competition that sometimes rears its head. And it's fucking ridiculous, because in actual fact, each of us who is here that feels a pull towards actually working with energy and working with other people as, you know, however you want to put it, a healer, an alchemist, whatever it is. Okay, we have our own unique way of doing things that brings its own flavour to whatever it is that we're doing, provided we are being true to ourselves and provided that we are being authentic in what we're doing, the way that we're offering it, and so on and so forth, and not just trying to fucking copy other people. This all links in with what I'm wanting to talk about, because one of the things that has come front and centre to my attention again recently, and it does kind of feel like I want to just briefly touch on Reboot 11 again. Reboot 11 it works with the Akashic Records. It also includes DNA activation within it, and I actually need to, and this is me holding myself accountable here, I actually need to sit down and write the module for the course about utilising it to activate your own DNA with specificity. Okay, so for those of you who already have Reboot 11, know that that's coming, and it will be available for everyone who's already bought it, because you'll be able to access it within the course contents on Podia and also on my Stan store. For people who haven't bought it yet, if this is something that's calling you, then this is essentially one way in which you can access this for yourself is via Reboot 11 if you're being called to my work. Now, the other thing that's been coming up has been this understanding that the way that I activate DNA, and I've called myself a DNA activator and architect for quite a few years now, and the architecture bit has really kind of come front and centre again in terms of me understanding a few things. And it's really funny actually, because one of the clients in my group program turned around to me the other day and said, Liz, I had this understanding about the DNA and and that you can change it. And I was just like, yes, exactly, brilliant. I was like, high five, yes, you're getting it. And essentially, I know for a fact there are quite a few of us DNA activators on the planet. There's more and more that are being activated at the moment into this awareness. Now, if you are ready to embrace this, you're drawn to my work and you want to come and actually learn about it in an environment that is non-hierarchical, non-judgmental, is very much about community, about sharing, about what I call the teaching. When I refer to teaching, it's actually more of a state of activation again, where I basically share processes, but I also activate people into having their own awarenesses of things that they weren't able to access before. So that seems to be a particular skill set of mine, is actually activating people so that the fog clears and they suddenly have this mental clarity and emotional clarity about what it is that they're here for, what it is that's trying to present itself, what it is that's been trying to get them to listen to it that they've been resolutely ignoring for possibly fucking decades. Okay, so the magic zone is where we do that. The reboot 11 is the tool to work with if you don't want to be in a group situation. You get, coincidentally, the magic zone, you get access to reboot 11 as part of your membership, along with a whole load of other stuff you get access to. The magic zone, basically you get all of that access. Reboot 11, if you buy reboot 11, it has a course that comes with it. It takes you through how to work with it for different things, okay? I will be adding in the DNA activation section to that. You can hold me to that. It should be up in the next week or so. The other thing that I am now launching, which feels really, really important, is a monthly new DNA activation with a theme. So there'll be a different theme every month. Each time there is a Telegram group set up. Each time you sign up for the Telegram group, we do the live activation in there. There's a whole load of whizzy awesomeness around the way that I do this, basically, because it's not just a DNA activation. It's a nervous system healing and upgrade sequence. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of things that go into it. Okay, and it's all tailored towards opening up the soul authenticity in the direction of whatever the thing is that you're aiming at. So it's effectively you're creating a quantum leap and you are utilizing your DNA to do it in a really powerful and authentic way. Okay, and we have the first one coming up. Basically, I've just launched it. I literally put the whole thing together yesterday. The whole thing came through as like, we need to take action on this now. I put it together. I sent an email out, and I'm now telling you about this. I can't believe my throat's frogging up because this is something I have had resistance to talking about for various different reasons. And this is, I think, partly due to the amount of competitive type vibes I've encountered in the spiritual community over the years when I've been doing my thing. And I think on some level, my body goes into a little bit of a state of, oh my God, no, don't talk about this because people will start attacking you and all of that kind of shit. So, you know, I'm acknowledging the fact that I've got some throat chakra issues going on around talking about this currently still, which obviously I'm going to go and fucking clear up after I've finished recording this. But essentially, if you are feeling called towards becoming a DNA activator and actually like remembering how to do that, activating your own DNA via Reboot 11, or joining a group where you can get support and there's a live activation delivered and you'll have access to it in perpetuity afterwards, but the group shuts down after a month because I then start a new group with a new themed DNA activation, then have a little look at all of these options via the links underneath this podcast. Okay, the one that we have coming up is called the Awakened Millionaire, because as it turns out, my soul has this burning desire, and you probably, if you've been following me on YouTube for a while, you'll notice there's a lot of money themed activations and protocols and reboots and so on and so forth included on this channel. My soul has a burning desire to activate a number of awakened millionaires. When we're talking about awakened millionaires, we are talking about people who are having those $1 million, pound or euro ideas, which this could be you, which are, should I say, absolutely in full and complete alignment with your soul's truth and your particular set of joys, passions and skill sets, okay? So you could call it the authentic awakened millionaire if you wanted to, okay? So this isn't about making £1 million just for the sake, or $1 million or whatever, just for the sake of making £1 million dollars or whatever, okay? This is about making $1 million or more than $1 million, multi-millions, doing something that fucking lights you up from the inside. And you might say, oh, well, I already know what I want to do. That's all very well and good. If you do very clearly know what you want to do already, that's fucking brilliant. What this DNA activation is doing, quite apart from activating the awareness within you, is it's dealing with all the stuff within your DNA that would make it difficult for you. So the ancestral stuff, primarily, past lifetime stuff, karmic shit, like all of that, all of the crap that may have been standing in your way and caused you to bang your head against a brick wall every time you're trying to do stuff in alignment with what you really feel is calling you. You may well be one of these people. I know I've certainly had enough issues on this front. I'm not going to go into details here, but there have been a lot of issues in the past to do with ancestral stuff, to do with all sorts of shit, to do with my upbringing, childhood trauma, all the rest of it. I've had to plough through all of that. I'm now at the point where I'm able to actually, with these DNA activations, clear all that crap out, basically, so that if you want a faster route and you don't want, if you're fed up of spinning your wheels and going round in circles, okay, and you are ready to accept help and support, and I will say in a paid format, because that's what it is, okay, then check out the links under this. The DNA activation side of things, your DNA, your body, your DNA is the kind of foundation code of your entire physicality, okay? If your physicality is not in alignment with what it is that you're trying to create, if there are unseen blockages going on, then you will find it really fucking hard work to create the things that you want in your life. When you work with the DNA in the way that I do, okay, whether it's you learn how to do it or you have it done for you or whatever, basically, that shit is sorted out so that you can fly forwards at fucking lightning speed rather than spinning your wheels and going around in circles. It's the primary reason why I do this work. Your DNA dictates your ability to quantum leap to the realities that you wish to experience. And I'm not saying that you are necessarily having trouble with doing that anyway, but if you have experienced issues with quantum leaping in the directions you know you want to go in and it seems like these routes are closed off to you, then this is something you seriously need to look at, because this is the missing link, basically. This is why I do this work. This is why DNA activation for me goes hand in hand with what I was once told about being here to work with people who have had a lot of trauma and a lot of issues in their lives. Like, if you feel like you've come in as someone who's here to deal with generational karma and you don't understand how yet, this is the work that you need to be looking at doing with me or with someone else. It doesn't really matter. Just pick someone who resonates. Obviously, if you're here watching this, you've gotten to this point, there's some part of you that's resonating with what I'm saying and with what I'm doing. So check out the links. I'm sending you so much love. I will be back with more next week, but I feel like I've said everything that I need to say here. The DNA, super, super, super important. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, then it's obviously not for you. If you are nodding your head in agreement and feeling yourself resonating with any of the words I've said here, then this is something at the very least you need to muscle test on to see if this is your next step forwards for you in your own personal journey. And if so, check out the links underneath this and come and join us in some format, whatever works for you in terms of the options that I've already talked about. Mwah! Lots of love to you. Have a fucking wonderful week, and I'll speak to you next time.